Police in the UK are undertaking a huge crackdown on e-motos such as the Sur Ron and Talaria. But if you think they're just hanging around in patrol cars, just waiting for the opportunity that you ride past and they catch you, then think again. The police are now using a ton of different methods to try and catch people riding bikes like these. Methods such as drones, invisible UV spray, they're even using e-bikes of their own. And they've now introduced a device that can actually zap your bike as you're riding it to cut all power to it. So in this video, I'm going to run through all the tactics the police are now using to catch you riding your e-moto. And trust me, some of these are going to shock you. Let's jump straight into it. Okay, so let's jump straight into tactic number one. So tactic number one, the police have now got specialist drones to try and help track the use of e-motos and e-bikes. So police first introduced the drones into their itinerary a few years back now to try and help things such as antisocial behaviour, rural crime, and places where it's just difficult to get police officers and units on the ground close enough to the crimes being committed. Now, I kind of first noticed this around our area, more towards the built-up areas, large housing estates. You'd often see them during the night. You can see the lights flashing in the sky, and they're clearly just trying to target crimes being committed where they don't have to have a huge presence of officers that can obviously deter people and things like that. So they can actually monitor everything going on from the sky. And I guess as well, it makes a huge difference on the cost of policing. They're not having to send out patrol cars, put police on the beat. They can literally have one person sat there from a destination flying a drone over these targeted areas. And then obviously once something is spotted, they can then send patrols in to monitor the situation. And what we've seen since then is the police are using this a lot more in rural sort of settings. And it seems to be a lot with these bikes that people used to be riding these around the streets and things like that. But obviously with the huge police crackdown and stuff like that, the beauty of these bikes are they are off-road vehicles. So people do use these off-road. Trails, tracks, fields, stuff like that. And obviously this is going to be really hard for the police to monitor. So a use of a drone is ideal. They can send a drone over the fields just to see what's going on, monitor the situation, and then send patrol in. And the other thing as well is police chases. Now, I read a load of different things about what the police can and can't do, but it seems to me that a lot of the police will not give chase if you are on one of these bikes. It's dangerous to the rider, it's dangerous to the public. So again, having a drone, they can completely monitor that. They can physically chase that bike with a drone through the sky and track exactly your location until it's safe to send in police in patrol cars or police bikes, whatever the case may be. The drones obviously also have thermal imaging, so they can use these at night, as you've probably seen on plenty of those police TV programs where they have the helicopters out. These are essentially just a much cheaper version. So the next tactic that the police are now using are e-motos. So in order to catch the e-motos, they are using e-motos. Makes complete sense. If you can't beat them, then join them. So police around some of the major cities in the UK, and one of the places I've personally seen these being used is London. They now have their own fleet of Sur Ron Ultra Bees, fully equipped with all the blues and twos, ready to go out and capture people using these bikes illegally. Again, if these are people using these in rural areas, then they're absolutely perfect. That's exactly what they are designed to do. The bikes are more than capable of keeping up with other e-motos, equipped with the same battery and the same motors. I do feel though the one disadvantage that the police have over people riding bikes like these is the skill level. I've seen a few videos online of police in training riding Surrons, but I do feel when you're coming up against a skilled rider, I really don't think they stand a chance. And I know people are going to sit in the comments and have their thoughts and opinions on this, so I'd love to hear yours. But don't get me wrong, if you're trained on a police bike for high-speed pursuits, 100%, there's an awful lot of training that comes in there. But when you're tackling in a more rural environment, jumps, woodlands, stuff like that. But if you've got a skilled rider on one of these bikes that's been riding it for years, I really don't think there's going to be any competition there. And I do feel from the police that this is going to obviously keep costs down again. The police have an Ultra Bee rather than a fully kitted out enduro off-road bike. Surron is definitely going to be a lot cheaper. It's definitely going to be a lot cheaper to run and maintain, so it makes a lot of sense. But these Surron bikes have been used by the police for probably around 2 years now, and I haven't really seen them go out to many more areas rather than your major cities in the UK. So whether they are a successful tactic for the police, I don't know, I feel if they were that successful then they'd be rolling these out a lot more. But now the next tactic the police are now using is ultraviolet spray, or as the police like to call it, smart water in a can. It's UV paint, let's call it what it is. Again, there's loads of videos on social media from the police stating that this is the new technique that they're going to catch so many more criminals with.
Stop! Please stop! Stop! Forensic spray!
Essentially what they do is they're going to scream at you to stop the bike. If you don't stop the bike and they get close enough to you, they're going to spray you with this UV paint. And then if they do ever actually manage to catch you, they will arrest you, take you to the police station and put you under an ultraviolet light and see if the paint shows up on your clothing. If it does, then that is concrete evidence that you were the perpetrator and that you committed the crime, and then they can press charges. Now when I first read about this, I was like, it's absolutely ridiculous. How on earth is this actually going to stand up in court? What the police are claiming is that the ultraviolet spray has a special decoder in it that is unique to that bottle and can actually set a timestamp and date within the spray paint to prove that you were in that location. It was definitely that officer and you that they have sprayed. Maybe that's why they're calling it smart spray in a can.
So this is smart water in a can. Some of you may have heard of it previously. It provides a unique forensic code in every can. Once an officer has deployed this spray, then it pinpoints and tags an individual on a bike or an e-bike or however they've deployed it to a specific day, date and location. So this really strengthens the evidential opportunities around the prosecution of the individual, and it's really about taking this back to those who are offending in our localities, those who are committing antisocial behaviour. The message is really simple, is that we have this new technology and we will find you.
Whether this is true or not, I have absolutely no idea. If it is, really clever. To have some magical decoder that can tell you all that information is pretty impressive. So, but whether you did get that close enough to the police, if you did get away, if you know you've been sprayed with something, surely, I don't know, you would get rid of the clothing you were wearing, you would change your clothing, you would take your top off. I don't know. I just can't really see how this is going to be the next best thing, but who am I to judge, hey? But if you're watching this video and you have had this smart spray in a can used on you, then please go ahead and drop it in the comments, because I would love to hear about your experience. Or if you know someone that has had this used on them, then please let me know, because it absolutely fascinates me. So moving on to some of the other tactics, obviously you've got your generic old school police cars, police motorbikes. They are getting a little bit more crafty, obviously using a lot of undercover vehicles now. And it only really used to be undercover cars, but I have definitely seen a rise, especially around sort of where I live, that they are now starting to use unmarked police motorbikes as well. The helmets they use and the bikes they use are equipped with a ton of different cameras. So they're trying to pull up against cars driving on the motorway, especially cars or drivers that are using their mobile phones. That seems to be the main reason why they're using them, but they are obviously still out there and obviously still being used. And I guess this would have been their main tactic, you know, since day dot, but I guess with especially sort of e-bikes, e-motos, whatever you want to call them, there is only so far that the police can chase you on one of these things in a car. Now the next tactic, which is probably the most cost-effective, most efficient tactic they have, is members of the public and social media. They are posting left, right and centre for members of the public to be vigilant and take photos, videos of people riding these bikes and then sending it into the police to try and give them intelligence of where they're riding, who's riding them, potentially where the riders live, so that they can try and track them down and seize their bikes. And the reason why I say it's probably the most effective is because just personally on my social media, this is kind of really the main thing I see. Police putting posts out saying that they've managed to capture riders and seize these bikes thanks to people posting this on social media and sending them the videos and the photos. Now the last tactic that I want to talk about, and this is the one that is probably the most impressive, the most futuristic, and is going to be the absolute game changer for the police. And that is going to be a device that they are now starting to introduce. It looks very similar to like a larger type sort of speed gun, where the police can stand on the side of the road, see you headed towards them, or even if you're riding away from them. They point this device at your bike, it then zaps a signal to the bike that interferes with the electronic system and can completely cut the power to the bike. Now, this device was very first introduced in preparation for the law change that was meant to be coming for EVs in the UK. So there is a law coming up that basically states the sale of combustion engines will be prohibited and everything moving forward is going to have to be made electric. So it's my understanding that they've created this device to basically target the new electric vehicles that are coming in. They can stand on the side of the road if they're in a police chase, anything like that. They can zap the car that will cut the electrics to the car, apparently bring the car to a safe controlled stop. The police then can get out and arrest the suspect. Now, I don't really know the technicalities of that, because surely if you lose power to the car, what then happens to things like your steering and things like that? Is that just going to be an absolute nightmare, a huge safety hazard, where the car will just completely lock up, you won't have any control, and you're just going to end up crashing into pedestrians? For e-bikes and e-scooters and things like that, it could be a really, really useful tactic. If my bike was to completely cut the power now, I would just roll to a stop. If I was going to hit something, you know, I haven't got ABS brakes, electronic brakes or anything like that, I'd just pump the brakes to stop the bike. Before I knew it, the police would be straight on me. I do need to make a quick disclaimer and point out though, I am riding a road legal bike. I seem to make videos on police and the crackdown on e-bikes and e-motos and stuff like that, and just get a load of abuse in the comments because people think I am actually riding around on an illegal e-bike. So I just need to make a quick note here just to say it is fully road legal, it has got license plates, I do have insurance, MOT and things like that, so just to stop the Karens in the comment before they come and attack me yet again. But yeah, going back to this device, it could be the absolute end for anyone riding one of these illegally. There's not a huge amount of information on these, they're only really articles, I haven't actually seen the device. From what these articles describe though, it looks very much like a Ghostbuster contraption where they have a huge backpack and a sort of Ghostbuster style gun that then sends out this signal. Like anything though, there are going to be probably ways of getting around this, wrapping your bike in a ton of tinfoil or something like that. I'm sure people will find a way of getting around this. But like I said, there's probably a lot of safety concerns around this. Safety to the rider, safety to the driver, things like that. But the way things are going, especially in the UK, it wouldn't surprise me that they're really starting to try and push for this. But there we are then guys, let me know what you think in the comments. As always, thank you ever so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't done already, hit that subscribe button and I will see you in the next one. Take it easy.